Hey everybody, Brent back with you. Today I'm going to be showcasing a collection of cards I've been wanting to show for quite a while, and I thought this was a good way to kick off my 2024, as this will be my first video actually showing cards and not me blathering on for minutes about psychological reasons for collecting. This is going to be my vintage Star Wars autograph collection that I've been building so far. And specifically, well, what you're not going to see is autographs of people that you've heard of. Vague enough for you? I hope so. I hope I leave you intrigued enough to continue watching. So what I'm going to be doing is showing you vintage autographed Star Wars cards of people you've never heard of. What is there not to love about that? Anyways, I also wanted to give you a quick thank you and shout out to the great response that I got from my previous video I did with Star Wars vintage cards. A lot of positive feedback. I used the book that kind of goes through the commentary of each card from the set creator from Topps back in 1977. So I might dive into that a bit on this video as well, but I want to focus more on the individuals that have signed these cards and why I think this collection of mine is really cool, something unique, maybe something you haven't seen before, and it'll just, you know, get the nerd wheels a turning when it comes to my beloved 1977 Star Wars set. So I'm gonna turn the camera around, and we're gonna show them right now. All right, let's go. All right, here we are. Hey, first off, I just have to forewarn, I am getting over a cold, so I apologize if I sound a bit stuffy or have the occasional cough, but I am just too excited, and this has been long overdue to make this video, so I am completely goofy, nerdy, and excited about making this video for you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. So, before you have the book that I mentioned that I had in my previous video, I'll put a link down below, if I remember, to go check out that video where I have the first 10 cards in the 1977 Star Wars sets graded by SGC, and I go through this book and read commentary on each of the cards. A lot of fun. Anyways, here is my first card that I had mentioned of my autographed vintage Star Wars collection, and this is of Terry McGovern. Hopefully you can see that right there. This is card 37, Cornered in the Labyrinth. Who is Terry McGovern? Well, I'm starting off with a banger. So, first off, he provided voices for many of the stormtroopers in the series in Star Wars. But the fun fact about him is this. Well, first off, the other voice that he did, he played the voice of Darkwing Duck in DuckTales. How cool was that? Anyways, cool fact, but that's not the coolest fact. The coolest fact is in the summer of 1969, at age 30, let me take that back. He left San Francisco in 1969. At age 30, I'm reading my notes here, I apologize. McGovern traveled to LA to further pursue his entry into acting. He started his career in films with George Lucas, in Lucas's inaugural film, THX 1138. It was on this film that Terry created the word Wookiee. That's right. According to Lucas, in a 1977 Rolling Stone interview, Lucas said, "We were riding along in the car one day, and he, Terry, said, 'I think I ran over a Wookiee back there.' This really cracked me up." And I said, "What is a Wookiee?" And he said, "I don't know. I just made it up." So Terry McGovern, he invented the word Wookiee. Now we're going to look at this card real quick, card 37, and here are the notes from the creator of the set. I'm not exactly sure why we call this detention block aisle a labyrinth, but I suppose the term applies. We all held our breath as the rescued Princess Leia joined the battle, proving that she could mix it up just as effectively as the rough and tumble flyboys. So there's your notes on the card as well. All right, so we put that one back there. Cool, all right. Number 2 is, again, from the first series blue set. This is an autograph of Richard Bonehill. Richard Bonehill, and underneath he said, Stormtrooper. So you guessed it. He played a number of different characters in all of the 3 original Star Wars. And he also played, more notably, the alien Nien Nunb in Return of the Jedi, the co-pilot of Lando Calrissian in the final scene in the Millennium Falcon. So how cool was that? That's really cool. Richard Bonehill played multiple characters, extras, in all 3 of the original Star Wars movies. This is Lord Vader's Guards, number 32. So let's look up number 32, shall we? Somewhere. 32. Oh, right here. All right. Viewers don't really know what to make of the omnipresent stormtroopers when we first meet these implacable white armored soldiers of the Empire. Fans certainly didn't suspect that the clones from the awesome sounding Clone Wars that Luke had mentioned earlier in the film eventually became stormtroopers. Of course, by this point, the clones were replaced with recruits. So again, it's so interesting going back to the genesis of this movie, how much we didn't know. We had no idea who the stormtroopers were, why they were, what the heck a Clone War was, but here we are. So I love this book presenting us back in 1977, not knowing what we know now. All right, moving on. Third, we have the Yellow Series. This is an autograph of Jeff Glover. And Jeff Glover was the primary director of photography on Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. I think that's right there is supposed to be CM-OP, so camera operator, but he was actually the director of photography. And he also worked on The Empire Strikes Back. So thank you for him for much of the photography of the first 2 Star Wars movies. And this is card 133. Ben and Luke help C-3PO to his feet. Get my ordering right here. Some of these won't have notes. Yep, and this is one of them. Not all of them have notes. So, I guess there wasn't a whole lot of cool backstory with that card. So, good to know. All right, next we have quite literally a legend. From the 5th series, the Orange Series, here's an autograph of Mr. John Dykstra. This is X-Wing's position for the cameras. Much of Series 5, the Orange Series, included behind-the-scenes special effects, production stills, and photos. As a kid, I didn't think they were that cool because I didn't want the proverbial curtain to show the wizard behind the curtain, right? This is something that I didn't want to know existed or know I cared. But now, dude, I eat this stuff up. I love the Orange Set, Series 5. And this is the legend, John Dykstra. He is quite literally the person who formed with George Lucas Industrial Light and Magic, the special effects and computer graphics division of Lucasfilms. He is well known as the special effects lead on the original Star Wars, helping bring the original visuals for lightsabers, space battles between X-Wings and TIE fighters, and the Force powers to the screen. So much of what you know from Star Wars that looked cool is because of this guy. I think that might be him on the right. I'm not sure, but I love getting his autograph on an actual special effects card. So John Dykstra. And speaking of Industrial Light and Magic, I was about to say stop what you're doing, but I want you to finish this video first. But then when you're done with this video, if you have Disney Plus, the best thing on Disney Plus, especially for Star Wars, especially some of the recent not so great stuff that they've put out for Star Wars, with the exception of Andor, I will pound the table for Andor, is the documentary, Light and Magic, that goes into the forming and behind the scenes of ILM, Industrial Light and Magic. It is a fantastic, phenomenally engaging, just wonderful documentary on how this all started and what they had to do to bring Star Wars to life. I think there's 5 or 6 episodes. The first 2 episodes are completely Star Wars, and then I think episode 3, they start branching out into other movies. Totally recommend it. Worth the watch. That's on Disney Plus, Light and Magic. Cool. All right. So, moving on. We have ourselves another legend. This is... Oh, you know what? I didn't read the... I'm going to present anything for this one. I'm going to find out real quick. Bear with me. I would hate to not have a gem for you guys. This probably is going to end up being a dud. So let's hold on for a second. Oh, they actually said something. More spaceship miniatures in flight, courtesy of ILM's groundbreaking visual effects technicians. John Dykstra won an Oscar, it is him, sweet, for his work on Star Wars, facing off against none other than Douglas Trumbull and the equally amazing FX work for the Spielberg epic Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So, Lucas originally wanted Douglas Trumbull to work on Star Wars, but he was busy with Spielberg and Close Encounters, so he had to quote-unquote settle for John Dykstra. I think he's glad he did. Anyways, mentioned another legend. Another legend for visual effects is this guy, Dennis Muren. This is one of my favorite cards from the set too. Sorry about the glare. Look at that rich space in the red. It just pops. Absolutely love this card. And when I saw he autographed it, I totally had to snatch it up. He's been identified as a pioneer in bringing a new wave of visual effects films to the public, opening doors for screenwriters and directors to tell stories never before possible with new realism because of technologies that he invented. He, again, was another one of the original pioneers in industrial light and magic. He's worked with George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and James Cameron. He has won 9 Oscars in total, 8 for Best Visual Effects, and a Technical Achievement Academy Award. He is kind of the godfather of special effects. Absolute legend. And they show him a lot in that documentary that I mentioned. He's just an amazing dude. So here we go. Dennis Muren. This is card number 122. Let's see what we got for 122. Hey, we got something. Another space-based shot. Topps had access to precious few, which was quite frustrating given the spectacular and unprecedented galactic vistas on display in the movie. This particular image was pre-airbrushed rather heavily, and I don't care. That's an amazing looking image. So there you go. Okay, we have three more. Next we have a gentleman by the name of John Molo. John Molo. Let me get his information up here. This is a beautiful card. Luke Skywalker, Star Pilot, John Molo. He was the chief, let me get his right title here. He created all of the costumes. It was in his imagination, along with the drawings of Ralph McQuarrie. That's another video. He was tasked by Lucas to create so many outfits and costumes based on these drawings. And he didn't get much direction from Lucas. Lucas said he envisioned a cast of heroes battling an evil galactic empire, and he briefed Molo to design costumes that would not resemble the stereotypical spacey look of earlier science fiction productions such as Flash Gordon. He said he didn't want people to notice the costumes. I just want to see the light versus dark. So with that task, he created many of the costumes, and inspired from, he worked with Ralph McQuarrie's drawings to create Darth Vader's helmets. He was in charge of many of the costumes. The Imperial officers were actually resembled after German Nazi officers' uniforms. And And then he also created the Rebel pilots, as you see here. And this is why I loved this autograph on this card of the star pilot, Luke Skywalker, autographed by John Molo. And he did win an Academy Award for costume design for Star Wars. So let's look up this card. This is card number 264. Let's see what we got. Oh, we do have something. All right. All right. Let's see here. Series 4, this is the last card in Series 4, concludes with a full version of that publicity portrait of Luke Skywalker in his pilot uniform, complete with his helmet in hand. So this is one of those publicity portraits that they used to promote the movie. All right. Now this next card I do not have in this book because it is the only card I am going to show you that isn't from the 1977 top set. This is, I will show you the back, La Guerra de las Galaxias. This is actually a 1977 sticker from Costa Rica. Don't see so many of these. And this is autographed by a gentleman by the name of Richard Edlund. You can see it right there, Richard Edlund. Can't really read his autograph. And this is a gentleman who was also the founding member of Industrial Light and Magic, along with John Dykstra. Having already founded some of the equipment that they ended up using with Industrial Light and Magic, he was an easy get. He was like, we had to include him in Industrial Light and Magic. He's won 4 Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects, 2 for Star Wars, and then 2 for Raiders of the Lost Ark series. He also was the person that did the special effects for Battlestar Galactica. I mentioned Raiders of the Lost Ark. He also did Poltergeist. And he also went on to create his own company after Return of the Jedi. And they were responsible for other movies like Ghostbusters and Die Hard. He was the chief special effects supervisor for those movies as well. So just a fantastic, rare card to begin with, a sticker, technically, of another legend, Richard Edlund. And last but not least, we started off with Mr. Terry McGovern. He's the guy that created the Wookiee name. We're going to finish with another card from Terry McGovern. And this I love because this is, as a kid, was my second favorite card in all 5 series of the 77 Star Wars set. This is card number 42, Stormtroopers Attack. And I love this because he autographs in the smoke blast, and he's the guy that says, "Blast them." Terrible recreation of the voice, but he's the guy that said, "Blast them." And he wrote that with his autograph in the kind of pink white cloud coming out of their guns, or by their guns. Terry McGovern. So I wanted to show this one last just because this has just all the feels for me, and was actually, I think, yes, it was. This was the first card that I got to start this journey into autographed vintage Star Wars cards. And by the way, you might have noticed all of these are from Beckett, and they say the Steve Grad Star Wars collection. Steve Grad, some of you may know who he is. He was actually on the Pawn Shop, Pawn Wars. Why am I forgetting the name of it? Really? Jeez. He was on that show, and he's also one of the chief authenticators for Beckett. And he had a massive, massive Star Wars autograph collection that he gave up and has been on eBay. It's actually directly through Fanatics. He's selling them. I'll actually put a link to a YouTube short where he kind of goes through his reasoning for selling his collection, and it showcases some of the amazing pieces. He has such a great collection of Mark Hamill inscription. Mark Hamill has a propensity of writing some funny stuff on his autographs, and he showcases some of those. There's some really, really good ones. But all of these, with the exception, anyone that has the Beckett, you'll see the Steve Grad Star Wars collection. So that's what that is. So anyways, I have taken so much of your time. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. I hope that you share at least a modicum of the level of joy that comes from vintage Star Wars collecting. It's literally one of my favorite things on the planet, and I'm happy to share these unique pieces. And maybe you'll learn something today about some of these behind the scenes guys that don't get enough credit for bringing one of the most amazing creations in the history of mankind. That is 1977 Star Wars. Appreciate you all watching. Hope you have a great one. We'll catch you next time.